Welcome back to Curse, Code, and Crown, a live play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast featuring a fully original world and campaign. I am the wizard Cronox, observer of time. Curse, Code, and Crown features our regular voiceover artists and improvisers, Laura Elizabeth as the Orc Count Eta and Princess Gwendolyn, Tyler Hewitt as Makka Deathcap, and Ryan LaPlante as Duncan Danno, alongside our dungeon master, the incredible Tom McGee. So get ready for an adventure including thrills, chills, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. It's time for Curse, Code, and Crown!
Gwendolyn, after drifting for what could be an eternity or could have been 5 minutes, after kind of moving past that patch of sort of ore and metals, you've continued to kind of drift through the passages of the mine, seeing again the stone statues of dwarves with armor, occasionally pinging off them, hearing what sound like echoing trapped voices as you did when you initially bounced off grade dwarves, which sort of we as players now understand to be their actual consciousness just trapped inside, but for you is just yet another weird mystery of these pieces. You continue to drift, and then suddenly, after I think somewhat drifting in and out of sleep, if that makes sense, like not really sleep, but kind of
kind of a trance.
I was gonna say the only metaphor I can think of is how they describe Luke going on long distance X-wing missions in some of the Star Wars books, where he goes into a Jedi trance, so he doesn't have to eat or sleep.
Yeah,
but he's also not really awake. I was like, what did he do in like Truce at Bakara? I'm pretty sure he did this. Anyway, but you're suddenly sort of jolted awake by what sounds like an echo, but an echo coming from multiple directions. So like if surround sound speakers were shooting stuff at you at various speeds, and in a haunting tone, similar to David Tennant's constant yells of Jessica, you hear a voice just say, like, Gwendolyn, and
oh no,
you actually feel, having already kind of felt your what exists of you almost be rendered, you feel kind of the edges of your entity of your soul tremble a bit, almost with vibration from this, and you realize that wherever Karen was, she is coming, and she sounds hecka pissed. What do you do?
No, can I move away? Could I don't.
You're drifting. Go ahead and roll me an let's say perception, please.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking at Ida. Oh, fuck. That's a 5.
Oh boy, get ready for one of those con saves. As you find your Azul drifting through one of these passages, suddenly where you've been kind of again like lost in space, just tethering to things, you can almost feel electricity coming from the one of those sort of stone light pipes we talked about, that kind of links to all of the crystals that light things. And you can see what looks like a pulse traveling toward you rapidly. And with a sinking suspicion, you feel it might be Karen. It also occurs to you, Gwendolyn, that a lot of the familiars in the Shadowlands had tremendous powers. And Gwendolyn had been preserved from whoever she had been a familiar to. It never really came, or sorry, Karen, yes. It never really came up who her witch was or what her powers are, but they were enough that she was considered worthy of being preserved in the gallery of familiars. And I think there's one of those sinking feelings of like, oh, it's the classic, like, I've been playing with an imaginary friend in a horror movie. Oh no, they're a super demon. It was fine when we were playing games, but then they killed the babysitter or some such.
Karen's going to reveal her last name is Bagul.
So Karen is rapidly approaching, and unfortunately, due to your low perception, you fail to dodge out of the way. That was a quick time event, and you just didn't quite get to triangle in time. So I'm going to need you to please roll a Constitution save as this kind of wall of force hits you.
All right. 18.
18. Okay, so you managed to withstand the hit, but it really is like being like particles dispersed by like being hit by a wave. Like it's just you're smashed backward, and for a moment you feel your consciousness blink out as it's overwhelmed by Karen's. But because you passed your save, you're able to kind of pull your sense of self back together. This is a term we've thrown out a couple times that will have more significance later. Gwendolyn wouldn't know this term necessarily, but in Gren, in this sort of universe we're playing in, the Azul refers to kind of your, not so much soul, because I don't want to tie it to a religious view, but almost like yourself, your spirit, your sense of self. Soul is a good parallel, just without the like it's been gifted
religious
to you.
connotation.
Yeah, exactly.
We could say like consciousness if you want to look at the fully scientific version.
Yeah,
of it.
The problem I'm having is like it's soul is kind of the better module because it's your consciousness, but if your consciousness was removed from your body, not in like a, because I don't want to think in sci-fi terms of like I could upload my brain into a thing and then it's just there. It really is just kind of like that. That's your essence, your esper, your all of that, all the things that like Final Fantasy games would talk about. So I'm going to use that term because it's going to become narratively not necessarily more important, but it's something that other characters would refer to this as. You don't necessarily know it, but as DM, it's just easier for me than using fake terms until you get the term, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Great. So your Karen's Azul threatens to overwhelm yours, but you manage to kind of pull yourself together, and as a result are ejected violently out of this wave. You realize that it's less her traveling through this conduit and more where you were like drifting, she's clawing. So anything that she can use to drag, and it's the unfortunate nature, as she proclaimed, of being born this way, she is in full control and capability of being a free-floating Azul. Whereas for Gwendolyn, it's something you kind of stumbled into by accident. Accidental betrayal of being stabbed through the heart by your brother. You know.
Yeah.
As old as time.
Yeah.
So the race is on. You begin to drift. I'm going to need, please... actually, maybe I'll ask you this. How do you think Gwendolyn rallies herself? So you've survived the hit. What does she? What is the instinct that drives her forward, do you think?
I think it's a feeling of like that she survived so much that there's no way she's going to be undone by fucking Karen.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just infuriating.
Okay.
It's not like I don't think there's a lot of noble sentiment or anything.
No, I fully understand. Let's make that a constitution again then. I know that's your key stat, and I'm not trying to fluff you on that, but like it would seem to me that if we're talking about like gritting your teeth and enduring, that's con.
Cool. Because I think that's kind of how like she has like the will of the soul, like she has that kind of there's kind of like a bit of a grit to her anyways, so
for sure. And like I think the way you framed it makes sense. It's also a frustration of like I will be good goddamned if I get wiped out in a fucking hallway. Like I'm gonna go down swinging or not at all, but not this.
Not this, yeah.
Not like this.
Not like this, yes. That's a 17.
Oh, nice. Okay, great. So even though again you don't quite have control of this, you essentially, I think similar to diving from a high height, just kind of consider yourself more aerodynamic as much as you can. Using Aikido terminology, you move with the momentum rather than trying to resist it. And as a result, find yourself flung forward. You also realize you can communicate with Karen in this state. Do you say anything as you hurl forward into the abyss?
I think it's just like God, I'm trying to remember her voice now. It's too much. Fuck you, Karen. Like, we can both fucking exist here. Like, what the fuck?
And then hearing again, like, you'll always, generally speaking, hear her voice as this like chorus of, it's all the same words. It's not like she's saying different things, but just kind of coming from all around you at different rates. And she just says, "Oh, very good. Oh, so demure. Oh, so royal and regal. We can both just live. How nice. You should have fucking thought of that before you sicked your dog on me. I'm going to fucking wipe you out of existence, and then I'm going to fucking kill him, and then I'm going to marry my BFF, the turtle, if we can get over the fight we just had."
No.
Mistress of wordplay.
Karen, still being Karen, is like, damn, touche. Now I remember why we were friends. You're really smart. I'm going to enjoy feasting on your essence. At which point...
Disgusting.
There's the Gwendolyn we know and love. At which point, Gwendolyn, you hit the ground. You hit the ground hard. And if you had teeth, they would rattle. But it's very much that sensation.
Oh, weird.
And you find armor collapsing around you as you slide backward. And similar to what you felt in the earlier in the mine, you kind of look down and around you, and you realize that you've crash landed in, for lack of better visual, a terracotta warrior army of armor with no one inside, just uninhabited suits of demon knight armor.
Okay.
And similar to, anything crashing into like a field or something, like you crashed into a suit of armor. Your Azul hit a suit of armor, latched to the suit of armor, and then that suit of armor plowed through a bunch of other suits of armor.
Gotcha.
You feel flimsy. You don't feel strong. This isn't Solaris armor. Also, perhaps most importantly to note, we've established that you need to soul bind to this armor to make it particularly useful, but you can move it around. So you do that classic thing everyone does in VR games and or Iron Man things. Yeah, you look at your hands, you grip the gauntlets, and slowly, Gwendolyn, you rise. Do you say anything or react to that anywhere?
Bet you're regretting your fucking words now, Karen.
There is a shockwave that hits, and a bunch of suits of armor get like tossed up into the air, and then they freeze and slowly start coming back together as other pieces of armor begin to flip up, and slowly but surely a figure begins to form. And she goes, "I never regret my words. I am incredibly eloquent." And with that, Gwendolyn, you stand to face off against a many-suited Karen in a battle of the Azuls for the ages. Meanwhile,
super.
But the good news is, at least you're not falling anymore. That said, meanwhile, Ida, you're falling. All of you are submerged in liquid stone. Which is a fucking truly mind-bendingly rough experience. Makka, I feel like you're probably the most comfortable of the three, just because this is enough like deep mud or quicksand that you
This is how I died, actually.
Yeah,
shit. I was attacked and my corpse fell into the bog and I sunk, and then I reemerged as Makka Deathcap, the Gravekeeper.
So what is this sensation like for you then?
There is a tinge of familiarity, although it's much more desperate. I am not mortally wounded. I am ready to fight, and I have such a clear purpose in this moment that there's definitely like a sensation of like desperation. I feel like it was like falling into a deep sleep the first time, and now it is just the sensation of like falling.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is a very cool distinction and a kind of gross one. We talked about this a bit on streams, but like I once got trapped in a hay stack thing that was like a maze piece, and I fell between two and I couldn't move. Yeah, and it was just like
it gets alarming very quickly.
Oh my god, it's still like my shoulders are tense listening to you describe that. And yes, I think there's an important distinction to like, oh, now into that like great unknown country. This is fine, or undiscovered country rather. And then this time it's like, oh fuck, I'm awake this time. This sucks.
Yeah.
Great. So that's what you're going through. Duncan, what's this like for you?
He hates it. He would hold his breath. He's trained for all these different panic scenarios. He does have the breathing barrel of Bertha. If he's got to get a couple of desperate gulps of air, he'll release the dagger, but not the rapier. And at this point, he's cursing himself because he knows he played it right. But next time, he's just killing the dwarf. There's no more like nice dwarf time. He's like, if we get out of this, I'm just killing every dwarf that comes like straight in the eye, just dead. I don't care how crazy you are. Crazy fucking dwarves. This is what I get for trying to do the right thing. Where's the princess? Princess, fly into my ass. He thinks as loud as he can, knowing that the armor is tied up in a bag in his lower back.
Gotcha.
Okay. Had to.
Ita, this is a far cry from what you're used to. How does this what is we've also really haven't seen Ida in like a weird environmental crisis before, so like what's this like for you?
Well, I think she definitely has a moment of like, how much can I move in this, and like, can I swim around, can I move myself? And she's not able to basically affect her circumstances in any way. I think as a bit of a like self-defense mechanism to her own brain going losing all sanity is she starts to look at it very academically and just like just curious as to like, what energy must be like put into this, and what is the source of, how do you make rock liquid? She's wondering, she's musing, because there's nothing else she can do.
Greg, I think it was Greg Nicotero. It was one of the big, no, I think it was the guy, Savini, Tom Savini, who's a big like special effects guy for Walking Dead and a bunch of other things. He did a tour in Vietnam as a war photographer, and he became a special effects artist because the only way he could compartmentalize the violence he was seeing was to consider how he could create it artificially. So as he was shooting all these like corpses and other things as coverage, the only way he stayed sane was just by being like, okay, well, like, how would you make that? Oh, well, I guess if I use this and blah, blah. So yeah, I think that's a valid way to kind of like, I was going to make you roll to roll a save, I guess, roll, Jesus. Roll a save to see like if you could keep it together, because this is such a wildly scary thing, I think, because like Duncan's kind of trained for this. Makka's kind of been through this, but for an academic, this is next level. But I really like that approach. I think that's a good way for you to keep it together. So no save for you. Congratulations.
Hey.
You didn't even need a devil's bargain this time. It's great. Okay, so the three of you are kind of dealing with it in your own ways, all of which are kind of keeping you together. When suddenly you feel a horrible like motion of free fall. So you've gone from this kind of like heavy pressed around you feeling, there's a feeling of suction, and suddenly you kind of glorp out the bottom of this liquid stone. And the three of you, Gatsby and the enemy dwarves, are all free falling, looking around, kind of blinking away the remnants of this liquid stone, which is still cascading down around you. You realize that you moved so far through the ground that you've actually come out the top of a cavern, and are now full on falling Gandalf and Balrog style past some of these other walkways. In the dark light, Ida, I think this is only something you can see because everywhere else is dark. Although I guess that there actually would be like lanterns going, so all of you can catch a bit of this. You see demon knights fighting demon knights. You see demons loose in the mines fighting both. But there seems to be mass confusion and battles ranging everywhere. As you fall, the Stone Shaper is kind of doing that Iceman thing where she's like bringing stone kind of into a slide around you. But she seems fully committed to this idea of infinity and forever, and just like continuing to make the rock move. So as you pass these walkways, she's dissolving them too. So people are just like falling. There's kind of mass confusion as you continue to descend. That said, Makka, even though you're free falling, you are weapons free. Do you attempt to give the Juggernaut dwarf the true death?
No, I think that's coming up pretty fast below us, so I'm I'm fine to delegate elsewhere. We are free falling.
Surrounded by liquid stone with kind of a slide forming beneath you from the stone she's pulling off of everything around you.
So a slide is forming, so it does not look necessarily like a perilous dead drop. It looks like we're going to be collected.
You're uncertain, but I mean, ultimately, like the best metaphor I can think of for this is it's like you're falling through an ice palace made of stone. So everything is very solid, but this stone bender seems to be fucking next level. So she is just absorbing the space around you to create whatever her version of forever is, which seems to kind of be like, we're going to go down to forever. So you're not sure, but it seems like she kind of has this in hand. What her intentions are unclear, but it's not like you're just like, you fell out the bottom and now you're just falling forever. She is actively drawing resource from all around you.
I try to find my friends in this disorienting free fall. I try to find Duncan and Ita, and cool. Even if I can, I'm assuming they all start to kind of look similar in the dark, but I try to pick out Gatsby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see him. His mustache against the glow helps.
Very distinct mustache. That's good.
Duncan, what are you doing during the free fall?
Duncan would try to use the environment to get back kind of behind and or like as close to the soft stone lady as possible, because if we can land on the ground basically and not be dead, he wants to blow her away before we fall any further. So it's like the moment everybody's gonna survive hitting the ground, kill the wizard is his plan.
Cool. Okay. And Ita, is there anything you're doing as you fall?
Yeah, she's trying to reconcile the laws of motion with what's happening.
Oh, man, I thought you were trying to hang on to your sanity. So collectively, in a kind of cascade of stone and bodies, you slam into the ground yet again, but it is malleable. It does give way as she continues to kind of tunnel down. Duncan, you whip out Mr. Bang and basically put it to her head, but you also realize you're midway through stone. So if you cap her right now, you're in stone. Do you shoot her?
I mean, no, I'm not going to get trapped in stone and die here. That's a terrible plan.
I would agree.
Yeah, so we're all already sinking?
Yeah, it's like you hit the ground, and it's not like you hit the ground and then start to sink. It's like it's like hitting a pool. You just plunge into further stone.
Yeah, I think he'd have the gun to her head and he'd just say, "That's right, not forever. Now we should all stop so we don't fall forever. Back to standing. Stand, not forever." All he knows is forever.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check, please.
Oh, that's a nat 20.
Nice.
She looks at you and she says, "Well, yes, of course there, pal. No sense in falling forever. Just want to make sure we could fall for a bit." And then she goes, "Oh dear, looks like I got lots of stone all over your fancy suspenders there. Well, that's no good at all." And with just a shift of her hand, kind of all of you are brought up and out of the stone. in like weird kind of like almost like hands bring you up and then just freeze, and you just kind of slide out of them to the ground. The stone schlups off you. Meanwhile, around you, the demons and the demon knights and the grays are all getting up and getting back into it. And she like brushes your shoulder off and just gives you a thumbs up. Says, "Quite tubular, eh there, guy?"
And he'll just give her a thumbs up back as he like pockets Mr. Bang in its holster, and he's like, "Can't believe what a ride it was. Thank you kindly."
Man, I really thought you were going to shoot her in the head. This is an interesting turn of events. Amazing. So,
well, she started for Duncan's logic is she started talking, brought us back up, and what she's saying makes sense. I think she might not be crazy, so I can't kill her.
This is a good call. Look, I'm 100% behind this plan. I was just pleasantly surprised. Okay, so combat is beginning all around you, but it's really not your fight. Makka, can you please roll me? Forgive me. Are you Arcana based or religion based?
Wisdom. So religion is the
all
stronger.
right. So go ahead and roll a religion check, please.
23.
With the gray beginning to recede, the cluster is suddenly very loud. Because
there's organic material.
Yeah, it's so much more. It's like basically the population
killing each other.
of Sprangbrekh has just multiplied by like hundreds of years worth of generations. Like it's
gonna be bad.
Fucking bananas.
Yeah.
So that begins to kind of wash over you. But as you started to be able to do, it's almost like you're like if a wave of this hits you, you can almost feel the kind of presence of the Rootfolk archivist that you've merged with, almost like catch you a little bit. Because it's similar to when you started to absorb all of their knowledge into the cluster. You weirdly, like, this isn't the first time you've had to absorb a bunch of new stuff. And whereas the first time it was very jarring, this time it's a lot, but you can kind of compartmentalize it. Also, it's not like you're getting their consciousness. It's just suddenly
there's a force there that wasn't there before. Yeah.
But you also sort of through the cluster and through the things you can hear and feel as you kind of both through your connection to Jossie and everything else, you hear a voice that just seems to boom in your mind, saying, "Yo, where'd the snacks go? What the fuck?" And it's like booming. Looking around, you see your companions don't hear it.
I'll say out loud, who is that?
I got two thumbs and they're pointing at me. You can't see me, but they are. So who's got two thumbs and is hungry? This guy.
A name. What is your name?
Please roll me an intelligence save.
Oh, I'm proficient in that. That's not terrible. 13. Probably not good enough. But
no,
not
sorry,
terrible.
bud. You take 6 points of psychic damage as the voice says a name that is so complex and terrifying that your mind struggles to like conceive of what has just hit you. It's honestly, it's. I mean, it'd be better if this was hitting Ida, because it's kind of what Ida does to people all the time. Like, it's just your brain's kind of like skips a beat, and it's like hearing like a cacophony of discordant noises and horrors.
Although it's completely overwhelming and painful, does anything come through? Is there anything that I am able to understand from this communication?
No, but if you're trying to, the voice says, "Oh, yeah, sorry, maybe that hurt a bit. You can just call me the Dougler. Most people do.
Okay.
Sorry about that, bud."
So we have descended through these mines to the undergrads.
My man, thank
of
you.
References. Got it. Okay. Call him the Dougler just like his dad does. Okay.
Tyler. Thank God we both went to the same high school and have the same frames of reference.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Neither do I.
Look, it's just a fun name. The character isn't the character from that show. I just pulled a name from a show we like. It's fine. This character's name is the Dougler. That's all you need.
Yay!
To him.
I don't know his name.
That's true. Only Tyler does. So really, you don't need to get the joke right now because you don't fucking know the joke that you're not getting yet. So that's as much as you can get right now, Makka, just because there's a big fucking fight breaking out around you.
Yeah.
And I imagine Duncan, probably of the three, although Ida also is good at calculating the odds, is looking around being like, this fucking sucks. But you can see a faint glowing pulse faintly reflecting off the sort of cavern tunnel. There's several tunnels obviously out of here, but there's one that looks dimly lit, which is drastically different from everything else.
Yeah, I think Duncan would just yell, "Make for the light." He'd guide the team there, and then I think he'd try to bring Confused Wizard. She seems like she might be snapping out of it, and he can't leave an innocent in a war zone.
She is currently conducting stone waves.
Oh no, fuck her then. She can stay.
Yeah. She's not like
abandons her
hitting people
immediately.
with them. She's just like kind of like doing them being like, "Oh yeah, this is great."
Okay, well then she seems like she's safe. So he'll I guess try, kind of like go to get Ita, but she's going, and then realize Makka's kind of distracted and shift over to like try to Secret Service a giant turtle forwards into a tunnel.
Yeah, which is at that point, I think the conversation gets interrupted as you're dragged.
Yeah, Makka will like accept your guidance immediately. Like there's no resistance when you try to move him, but he does speak to you as you've got your arm around him.
Do you know of the Dougler?
No, I don't get that. Is that a joke?
It is a voice.
All right, we'll see what you can learn about it. Maybe it can tell us where Gwendolyn is.
He's saying this as they like hurry out of the
course, yes, I
combat
understand.
zone.
Yeah.
He's saying that when he like punches a demon in the face and like kicks a dwarf into another demon, like just avoids everybody.
Tubular man, says that particular great out dwarf. Okay, so as the three of you rush out of the room, I'm going to need either dex saves or con saves as you muscle past. Again, this is very much like you're not engaging in the combat, but there's enough. Unfortunately, the Stone Shaper brought enough people down with her that now this is just a fucking like war pit.
It's 15 for Duncan.
Okay,
Ooh, 21 dex save.
nice, great.
Constitution. It's a 5 for Makka.
All right, so Makka, you will take 1 point of damage because I rolled a 1 on my d6. So you failed your save, boo, but you only take 1 point. Yay! That 1 point is also cursed. Yeah, so yeah, but it comes in many flavors. So yeah, just like a sword like bangs off your shell as you run by. But you've had worse.
Yeah. Quite recently.
Yes, honestly. And the three of you rush into the tunnel. Meanwhile, Gwendolyn, roll me initiative, my pal. Let's do this.
19.
Karen got a 3. So Gwendolyn, you're up first.
What do I have? Like, do I have weapons on me?
Right now, no. So you're in kind of the middle of the terracotta army.
Yeah.
We'll say that Karen is at the south end putting together her like Megazord suit. Looking around quickly as you kind of try and get your bearings, you realize that you're deep in the armory. So these are older suits. They're not like the fresh suits. But it's probably that unfortunate thing that like happens with Apple and other products that are kind of built to be obsolete where, oh, we built all this armor and then we developed a slightly better armor. Now no one wants our old armor. So like, we don't want it on the market though. So it lives in this box. But sort of in a ring, sort of on the walls in racks, there are weapons, but also you're not entirely sure how much weapons are going to help you here. I think what I would encourage you to think about with your powers, I didn't realize I was going to tell you this, but I think it makes the most sense. Think more like rocket punch and less like throw a sword. So you can still use the powers that Gwendolyn has available to her. They will just be off of this suit of armor.
Yeah, that's fair.
That said, two things I want you to keep in mind. This is not Solaris quality armor. And so it's flimsier. You're still, again, because you aren't bonded to it, you can't move with the same sorts of like flexibility you normally would. Yeah. But it's good enough for now, and it's good enough to punch Karen right in the face. So
yeah, I can still slam attack.
You? Slam attack? Really? Her? Absolutely.
I'm like,
and weirdly,
the bluntest.
I'll also say weirdly because
thing.
This armor is built for dwarves. That's going to be somewhat more effective because it's squatter armor, so it's more like launching a cannonball forward, rather than like a tree falling. If that makes sense.
Cool.
Cool. Gwendolyn, you're back from the dead. You're up.
Fuck yeah. So am I just still like just adding like straight strength to my?
No, use attack? Your consider this suit your suit, except for AC and HP. And I'll give you
it is. So that's it.
Saves. But in terms of it is then. Well, no, but in terms of like using weapon attacks, feel free to add like, what you would add for the Elos blade and all that. Like treat.
Oh, got you. Yes. That's nice.
Yeah. Like I'm letting you play your character, but with disadvantages imposed on you based on the shittier armor.
Okay.
You're welcome.
That's
I'm gonna fucking kill this character. It's gonna be great.
Jesus, I already ripped up the sheet. 13 to hit.
Yeah. So you just like launch forward and you slam through Karen's leg, and you just plow suits of armor out of it, and you kind of roll out the other side, and you turn and look back, superhero style. And the multi-suit has fallen to one knee, but more armor is just feeding into it, and it starts to rise again. And Karen just says, "Oh, like poor Gwendolyn, you only ended up in a suit because someone like pinned you to it. You don't even know what you're doing. That's adorable. Such a shame that you have to die like this."
I start looking for an exit.
There is an exit beyond Karen.
So it was to your back until you ran through her.
Correct.
Perfect. That's fine. That's perfect. That's great. That's fine.
Cool. Bringing us to Karen. Laura, what is Gwendolyn's AC normally?
Normally 20.
20. Okay. You have AC 10 right now. So Karen just reforms the leg. And you see the kind of multi-suit, which doesn't have a head. It's really just like a torso of chest plates and arms made of like arm guards and legs made of leg guards. And for a second, it looks like she's going to like clock back to punch you. But instead, chest plates just fly out of her chest at you. And it's kind of like Starkiller Base in Force Awakens, where like more suits are being absorbed into her back as the front ones are shooting out at you. But it occurs to you, aside from your armor, Karen's probably never had limbs. So a lot of this isn't going to react quite the way you would normally expect.
I will use a reaction. I'll use one of my essence points to reduce her roll by 1, which will be like.
Is that all of her rolls or her roll? All of her rolls or her roll? Like one roll or all of the.
Yeah, I think it's just one roll. So it'll just be this attack.
Okay. So she attacks you 5 times, which is just kind of summing up all of this shit that's flying at you. She hits with 3. Unfortunately, the -1 didn't help. All right, that is...
Why does she get 5 attacks?
Because she's vomiting armor at you. It's a machine gun made of chest plates.
Maybe like, this isn't a fair fight.
That is true. Gwendolyn, you take 25 points of damage, and your armor is crushed beneath the cascade of plates, and explodes into shards of demonite metal. Go ahead and roll me that sweet con save.
19, baby.
So this hurts. But rather than being like completely disassembled and reassembled, it's like in any like a Tony Jaa movie or any time where someone gets like booted hard and just kind of like slides on their shoulder across like a dirt fighting pit. It hurts. You feel at the point of the armor exploding, your soul, like your Azul, ripple, but you're kind of more used to it now. So it's more like you shoulder roll out of it. And you slam into a new suit of armor and kind of fall over. This one's a little rustier, but looking down, you can see that it's got like spiked gauntlets. So,
ooh, that's fun.
A little bit of good. And Karen's like, "Oh, did you like survive that? Fuck. Okay, well. Guess I should use my like bonus action for something." And she throws her arm off. One of her arms, sort of full of gauntlets, flies off, hitting the space above the doorway, causing it to collapse and trapping you in the armory with Karen. Meanwhile,
boo.
Ita, no, you don't want me adding more ghosts to this. We got enough. Makka, Ita, and Duncan, you're running towards the light, which is slowly growing brighter as you descend further downward. Is there anything you discuss or do on the way down?
At Duncan's suggestion, I will attempt to converse with the Dougler or Dougler once more.
Oh, it's the Dougler. You got it right. Okay, yeah. And she says, "Oh, hey man, it's you again. Did you find those snacks? I had so many snacks."
And Makka, kind of ignoring that, will say,
"Somewhere there is the essence of a human princess named Gwendolyn. Do you know of such an essence?"
Can you roll me a... It's a shame there's no description check. Let's see.
It'd be like a performance check.
So do you want perception for can he describe what he could remember kind of thing?
You know what? Give me insight. Not that you're trying to discover something, but you're trying to impart what you know of what this would look like.
It's not a good roll, so it's only 9.
9. The Dougler says, "A human? What's that? Is it tasty? I'm sorry, man. I'm so hungry. Like, I'm just, that's all I'm thinking about is food."
Okay.
It's so probably not food. I don't know.
Makka, thinking of like an alternative path, just says it.
"What is food for you?"
Oh, can you roll a persuasion check?
That one. Natural.
He says, "Oh, I can't explain that to you. I just need a fucking snack, man." And the cavern rumbles, and you think you can hear the sound of thick glass cracking.
Everyone hears that, or is that still my internal?
It echoes up up towards you. It's definitely coming from the space you're running toward.
Okay. I will say,
"The Dougler does not know of Gwendolyn. However, whatever it is, I believe it is this way."
All right. Well, the cracking glass suggests, Makka, is it evil?
It was asleep. I do not know if it is evil or angry or something else.
I distrust anything that wakes up in a mind full of demons. All right. Well, if it's evil, we'll kill it. Damn it.
As you sort of turn a corner, you start to hear shouts, and calls like, get some lights on it. Yo, my dudes, get your weapons. Come on. It's cold fuck down here.
Demon knights.
All right. Well, we'll keep going towards the yelling.
Ito, you doing anything during this?
I'm just kind of passively collecting information from my surroundings.
Cool. I will let you all spend 1 hit die if you feel so inclined. You're not taking a short rest,
nice.
But
I am so inclined.
I thought you might be. Remember, hit die? Well, they're back in POC form.
Ah, fuck. Rolled a fucking 3. I mean, it's better than nothing.
I rolled a 1, but that's why it's important that I, uncanny dodged that 3 damage earlier.
And I filled in the gap with a 2.
Well, honestly, running down a hallway probably wouldn't heal anyone that much, so this feels narratively coherent.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to tell you that. You all knew. Okay, amazing. So running around the corner, you see a massive chamber that Gwendolyn also beheld. There's a sort of it would be if there's sort of a dim light coming off this massive crystal in the center that seems to have a massive crack running through the center. There's a dark shape inside with several glowing eyes, curved horns, and you can see demon knights and what look like sort of similar garb to Sandra and the other stonebenders, but with like lab coats, like rushing around in a panic. And Makka, you just hear the voice say, "Oh, fuck yeah, snacks." And one of the hands punches out through the crystal, grabs one of the dwarf scientists, and as the claw, like that fingers grip it, you watch as the scientist turns gray.
Look there. The Dougler. It is not angry. It is hungry.
And with that, the crystal shatters, and the Dougler is unleashed.
This episode of Curse Code and Crowd Sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hamstra, and the campaign was created by Tom McGee. Our original theme music was composed by Landon Knoblock, and Curse Code and Crowd's logo was created by the brilliant Decapitated Markers. If you want to follow our players or our DM on Twitter, you can reach out to Laura at EL Hamstring, Ryan at the Ryan LaPlante, Tyler at Tyler_Hewitt, Tom McGee at McGeeTD, or you can message our whole company at DumDumDice. So please, join us again for more Curse, Code, and Crown!
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord Abradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.